Danek. I'm the Chief Technology Officer with Public Works Government Services Canada, and today I'll be presenting the Cloud Slam, the roadmap to cloud computing for the Government of Canada. So thank you very much for having me today. I really appreciate being here. So I will be driving the presentation, and I'll walk you through it. So our agenda for today, we get 45 minutes. I want to give you a little bit of background on the Government of Canada's IT Shared Services program and where we're at. Also go over as to how we are actually structured to govern ourselves, because this is a government-wide initiative. So we are comprised of about 140 departments and agencies in the Government of Canada. Then I'll lead that into our cloud concepts and what we've accomplished as far as the framework and the definitions and our next steps. Present as well the vision and the plan, and finally accomplishments today. So today I have with me as well two of my senior advisors, Eric Desprez, who's my senior architect for telecom, and Dan Murphy, who's my senior advisor for business strategy on cloud computing. So just to give you a little bit of background on moving towards shared services, what kind of an environment that we have. We have about 315,000 desktops that operate. Last inventory, we have 144 data centers nationally that we know of. And in there, we are currently hosting 120,000 Wintel and Unix servers. We have 7 financial management systems, 124 private clouds, or if you prefer, separate network infrastructures, and 15 instances of SAP and PeopleSoft. Now, when I say we, I'm talking about the Government of Canada at large, and our mandate in Public Works Government Services Canada is we are the single department that has legislation to provide common services to other departments and agencies. We are an optional service provider, so we need to earn our living every single day. We focus primarily as a department, one of our lines of business is to manage the real estate for the Government of Canada. The second one is to manage the acquisitions, so that's the acquisitions branch. The third one is our banker, payroll, pension, so really receiver general function of Canada. Fourth line of business for Translation Bureau, deal in 57 languages, 2 official languages in Canada being English and French. And then, of course, IT Shared Services, which is us. And in the 5 domains of IT, we are active in 4, which are infrastructure-based, being desktop computing, telecommunications, which is voice and data center services, and IT security. From a budget or expenditure perspective, the pie chart that you see in front of you, total expenditure roughly around $5 billion, and the division, if you want, of expenditures by key elements are on this pie chart. So you see the telecom being at $780 million a year. These are all ongoing numbers. Data center, which is in red, a little over $1 billion. Desktop, $1.5 billion roughly. Security and architecture, about $120 million. And then program applications, which are business-specific applications, 1.1, and common administrative system being the ERP side for $350. On the next slide, it gives a little bit of background about our IT practitioners, if you want. So our IT practitioner base across the whole of Government of Canada is about 17,000 strong. We've seen an average employee annual growth of about 7% since 1999, and the labor cost of total IT services increasing by over 10% annually. Approximately 30% of our staff are located in regions outside of the national capital area, being Ottawa here in Canada, and the number of employees that are served by this is about 284,000, which excludes our military. Okay? Now, I need to point out as well a key element as to what gave a little bit of impetus on shared services, and that's the fact that roughly 43% of these 7,000 employees will become eligible to retirement in the next 4 to 5 years. The next slide really deals about governance. So one of the first things that we did, we first decided to organize ourselves and have a strong governing body to be able to decide on the roadmap and the way forward for IT. So the slide you see in front of you, to the extreme left, it's the enterprise governance, as we call it. So Treasury Board Secretariat is our main policy body, and we have one federal CIO, Karin Charette, and she heads that group. So they are responsible for policy and directives of IT. There are three main councils, if you want, that report or advisor. CIMB, or CIMB as we call it, is a Committee on Information Management for Business. So this is primarily made up of information management business people, not necessarily IT. So it really is the demand side of governance for the Government of Canada. The next one, CIO Council, there are approximately 50 members of the CIO Council, and those 50 members represent the medium to larger departments and agencies in the Government of Canada. And there is also a seat there from the president of the next committee below, which is the head of IT for small departments and agencies, which has its own governing body, but the president of that one sits also on the CIO Council. The piece in the middle is the Shared Services governing body, and the Shared Services governing body you see from the extreme right. There are subject matter expert working groups that are aligned to provide key input, if you want, to advisory panels, and we have